Oh, I can't see those windows, can I? The messages.
Can't put tags on it anyway.
Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and I thought tonight I would do something a little bit different and do a live build. Well, it's actually going to be a reshelling, so I'm reshelling. This is the old pink piece of trash, which we've recently upgraded. We've put in a Gigabyte GA-AX370-M motherboard in there, the new Athlon 200GE. We haven't done a power supply yet or anything like that. We've done a little bit of RAM, nothing too outrageous, new SSD. So really it's all a bit too good to be put in this case. We've got no USB 3s, we've got no RGB in this 2018, almost 2019, and really we need to have some RGB at least, and definitely some USB 3 at the minimum. USB-C would be nice, but hey, can't have it all. So this is the old pink piece of trash, which is going to be coming out. And this is what we're going to be replacing it with. This is the Riotoro CR1088. This is a full ATX case, but it's actually quite a small case, so it's not real high tall tower, it's quite compact. It's got dual chamber design, so you've got all your nice looking stuff on one side with the glass, well, plastic side panel, but it looks like glass. And on the other side you've got the bit for stowing away all your cables, your power supply, your hard drive and all that kind of stuff. And also it's got some really nice RGB features which we're going to be wiring up. So this is what it's going to be going into. So stick around for the build, let's see how it goes, and obviously if you notice anything I'm doing or you disagree with something I'm doing, feel free to put it in the chat box and let me know. As we go through this build, I'm open to suggestions, so let me know what you're thinking. So I'm going to start now stripping down the old PC, so then we can get the bits ready to put in here. So strip the PC down. So this is the pink PC piece of trash. Now we bought this, I think, probably from eBuyer back in about 2008. It was a present for our daughter's birthday, sorry, Christmas even. And we bought this because she was into pink, and she still is into pink. So that's why we've gone with the RGB case, because you can't really get a pink case these days. But RGB, we can make it look pink-ish, or have some pink lights. It'll look like neon, but hey, it's still pink. And this case, as you can see, it's had a bit of a hard life. So yeah, basically we're just going to strip it all down, take all the bits out and stick them into the other PC. So let's get rid of some of the peripheral pieces, such as the SSD and the hard drive. Now the SSD is nothing fancy, it's an OCZ ARC 100. One of those. So that's a pretty decent drive actually. If you use online PC benchmarking tools, that actually performs really well. Surprisingly so. Which unfortunately the same cannot be said for this, the Western Digital Blue. Now this drive is an old laptop drive, but it performs awfully. We got buffering.
Mine's alright.
Okay. Sorry, it looks like the PCs I can see are buffering, so I might have to turn those PCs off to conserve some internet power in the household. It's either that or George is watching some Pornhub, which is probably taking up a lot of bandwidth, so I do apologise if it's buffering, but it's down to him. Anyway, so that's the OCZ. I don't know if can they actually see that? I can't see it on the screens.
I can see it on my phone.
Oh, okay. You on 3G? Right, so we've got some SATA cables, we might as well reuse those. And let's take out this power supply. Now the power supply, this is a pretty old power supply. It's a 450 watt. I think it's like a CIT, which is kind of like the real kind of crappy end of the market. Although saying that, it's been in there for quite a long time and it seems to have lasted, so it can't be all that bad.
You can always use it as a radio wire.
Yeah, and also if if you've got a gold themed PC going on, then this is definitely right up your street. So yeah, I was right, it's a CIT. It looks like C3PO's dirt box, look at it. Wow. Okay, so that is pretty much what we've got left in there now, is just the motherboard, the RAM and the processor. The power supply's attacking me, stop it. Okay, so what do you think? Anybody who's watching, do you think, should I reuse this? Or should I put in the Riotoro Builder's 600 watt? So there's a little chance of some upgrade in the future. What do you reckon? Let me know. F5? I can't see any. Oh yeah, it could do, yeah. Okay, so disconnect all the front I/O, which it isn't a lot of. And actually, if I switch to the other camera, yeah, you can see what I'm doing now. Now, hopefully you can actually see and hear what I'm doing.
You have Ashton remixed Island music.
Yeah. So those of you that are joining us for this live stream, good evening. Unfortunately, normally I'd have my Surface Pro stuck in front of me so I could actually see who's on and who's commenting. So I can't see if you're there and I can't see the questions, so I'm relying on Kath to relay information to me. But being that she doesn't like her voice or her face being seen on camera, this could be a bit of a waste of time. But thanks for joining anyway. So if you do want a message passed across to me, tell Kath to shout it out. Now obviously if you're watching this in the repeat, then don't bother asking any questions because, well, that time's come and gone. Okay, so that was pretty simple.
Mr. Sippy asked what you think of the RX590.
So there we go, there's all our screws. We'll keep those screws just in case. Just in case. So we've got our motherboard, we've got our processor, we've got our RAM, we've got our backplate, which is a really important thing to do because without a backplate things look horrible. Yeah, so we're good to go. So, oh, actually there is a fan which is in the front of there, which is our Arctic 120mm fan. One of the, I think it's an F4, F something. Got the box up here. But in the Riotoro case, I think there is one fan in there already, and I have actually got another fan waiting, so we can have a 2-fan setup. But we'll have a look at the case. Well, you tell me. Tell me what you think. Let's get rid of this. I'm going to quickly unbox this case a minute so you can see what the deal is, and tell me what you think of it. Actually, at first when I saw this case, I was a little bit unsure, if I'm completely honest. The side panel really looked a bit odd, and I was thinking to myself, I don't know if I can get over that side panel. But when I took it out of the box and had a look at it and lit it up, it actually changed my mind. So let's see what you think. Who did?
Mr. Sippy.
Mr. Sippy? Mr. Sippy, what do I think of the RX590? That's a very, very good question, actually. I would say I'm underwhelmed. And I think that AMD should have done something a little bit better a long time ago. Oh, this is not easy to do. There you go, there is a literal unboxing on Mike's unboxing. It had to happen one day. Now I've got to try not to get electric shock. I can feel the static in this bloody thing already. So what do I think about the RX 590? I think it's a waste of money personally. For me, as a sort of alleged content creator, the entire Radeon series now is a waste of time because you get no support in things like Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere have completely taken out OpenCL, I think now, or any sort of support for AMD cards. So if you're a video editor or a video creator, then if you haven't got an NVIDIA card, you're screwed. So I'm not entirely sure what happened there, whether the nice man from NVIDIA went to Adobe and said, how would you like a lot of money? Basically, cripple these cards. It's a ridiculous situation. AMD cards, quite cheap and cheerful, and get loads of RAM in them, especially like the 590, the 580. I've got a 580 in the machine behind me. Got a 480 there behind me, which I've picked up today. They're good cards and they're good value for money. Like that was £100. The one that's in there I swapped for a GTX 970, which is about £120. So you get a lot of bang for the buck, but you don't get CUDA, which is kind of important these days. Okay, so here's the PC, or sorry, here's the case. Give you a little spin round. What do you reckon? Get out of the way here. What do you reckon? Kath's worried in case there's any reflecto pouring, but so I told her to get out of the way. I don't think there's going to be any reflections in this, but there's a bit of a delay on the stream, so I can't tell. What can I see? I can see the coffee, the camera. Yeah, I think we would have got you there, Kath. You're right now, you can get back up. So, what do you reckon? Not bad, eh? I quite like it. This side hump, or whatever you want to call it. Hang on, Kath, you're going to rip that cable out your computer. The side hump is a weird one. It's a difficult pill to swallow, but it does grow on you. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm still unsure. Now, it is possible, I think, that the panel on the other side, which is the solid panel, that one, I think that would fit on the other side. So if you wanted to maybe try and ask Riotoro for another side panel to fit on there so you don't have to have the acrylic, then maybe that's a possibility. Anyway, let's take the sides off because we're going to have to take the sides off so we can get this case back inside, or get the PC back inside. And I don't know if you've noticed, someone pointed this out actually when I did the unboxing, this is actually a left-handed chassis, which is kind of unusual, but then when you think about it, because it's upside down ATX, it does make complete and utter sense, because obviously if it's upside down, well, it would be. So this now is the motherboard side, whereas traditionally, most cases, you'd have the front of the case, well, that side, and that would be the motherboard side. But in this one, this isn't right.
Ideal for filming purposes. Because you're always meaning that.
Yeah. For me, actually, yeah, Kath's just saying for filming purposes, this is actually perfect because I could have it on the side of the desk there with the side visible and the front visible at the same time, rather than having a load of wires sticking out the back. So for my purposes, but then I'd have set this studio up in completely the wrong way because of the layout of the room. Really, I should be on that side of the desk filming that way, but I digress. So what do you guys reckon? What do you think of the case?
Glenn says you've gone out of focus a little.
No, I always look like that. Oh yes, focusing on the lamp. Good old Lumix autofocus.
Remix Iron Music said which do you think the 2080 is better than the 1080?
Questions. Do I think the 1080 is better than the 2080? For the value for money, yes, but for the overall power and all that sort of stuff, no. If there were games that supported it, then yeah, it probably would show its value, but there aren't, which is a real shame actually, because it does have a lot of potential, but it's again, it's a bit pointless. It's like having a Ferrari that can do 160, but having roads that you can only do 70 on. That's quite a good analogy. So as I'm looking at that case, so can you see inside there all right? There's a bit of a delay. Does that look blurry, or is that just my eyesight?
I think it does look a bit blurry.
May have smudged the lens.
Just tap on it.
Yeah, you can do. I think it's on autofocus. I don't know. Cameras, eh? Technology. Does anybody know anything about technology? Come and give me a hand. Right, this is going to get tricky now because this is upside down ATX. So that's got to be upside down on the old IO shield. So let's stick that in first of all. Is that in? She said. Okay, we're good there. One down, many to go. Let's have a look in this accessory box and see what we actually get in there then. I should know this because I've already unboxed this case, so we get some cable ties, some little mini ones. We get some motherboard mounting pillars and screws, so that's the one we're going to want next. Oh, and that's the fan screws. How cool is that? You actually get fan screws, like the long ones to go through radiators and stuff. So if you want to mount it on the front or the back of the case, you can do pretty easily. I kind of like that. That's pretty sweet. Right, let's put this motherboard in. This could get a bit tricky now because I've got to try and hold the motherboard in place and screw it in place and see if you guys can actually see it as well at the same time. So let's see if I can move some of these wires out of the way. I never thought of this. I should have had a top-down camera. Madrina's coffee. No, it's not, I'm joking.
It's key.
It's actually a cup of key. That is basically tea and coffee in the same cup. So yeah, you can have it as a key or a toffee, whichever way you want to put the words together. I kind of like it, it's different. Right then, let's put a motherboard in. So, how many pillars do I need to put in? Do I need to put any additionals in? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We haven't got the extra one on there. Actually, that's a micro ATX board, isn't it? So I will need one. Again, backwards ATX is just a real head F. So that is about there. So we're going to need one of these, just the boots there. I suppose I should be using my proper screwdriver for this.
And the other camera angle.
And possibly the other camera angle. So there we go. Can you guys actually see any of that at all? You probably can't, can you? Well, you can get the idea.
What is the benefit to an inverted ATX layout? The last time I saw that was in socket 775Dell opted flex systems.
The benefit of having upside down ATX or inverted ATX, the benefit is there is no benefit. In fact, it probably defies most of the laws of logic and physics. As we all know, heat rises. Or at least that's what they told us in school. So in theory, you'd want your hottest components towards the top. So as the heat rises, you don't want too much heat generated at the bottom and then going all the way up. Oh yeah, they can. Yeah. So basically, yeah, ideally you want your hottest stuff at the top, so which is why CPUs generally would be in this part of the case, graphics card in the middle, because of the fans and the exhaust fans, normally you'd have the hot air being pulled out of the back there. So in this particular instance, you've got a fan at the very bottom, which is actually doing next to F all. So it's an absolute waste of time. But it does look kind of interesting and a bit weird. Now, depending on what graphics card you've got, that may also look a little bit weird, because if you've got a graphics card which says on the side of it in massive letters GeForce GTX, you put that sucker in upside down and it doesn't say GeForce GTX anymore, it says X to G, F to G, which is pointless and makes no sense to anybody. Well, maybe Russians possibly. Anyway, I digress.
Glenn said get to see the GPU fans, that's about it.
You can see, yeah.
Do that upside down.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you, I'm not entirely convinced about upside down ATX, but it was the kind of the only option. Hey, that works. So the motherboard actually, there's a pillar right in the middle which locates really nicely. And if I think I've put that in the right place, yeah, that's threaded in okay. What do you reckon? Does it look okay? Switch to the other camera so you can see. Let's see if I can get a bit closer. There we go. Hey, the magic of television. Well, sort of. Ah, that's the wrong screw. Wrong screw for the wrong hole. Oh, don't you just love the sound of crackling PCB? Now look at that for a little fan. That's tiny, isn't it? That is about as much use as a chocolate ashtray. Yeah, I'm missing a hole. Oh no, there he is. Oh, that's difficult to get to. That is another downside of the upside down ATX, is obviously manufacturers don't often think about where they're putting screw holes and stuff like that. Oh, okay, that's not too bad.
Remix Island Music. I would like to see an Athlon stock cooler versus AMD Wraith Stealth Cooler Challenge.
Okay, that's possible. We could maybe do that. This CPU, I don't know, I'm looking at that camera, I should be looking at that camera. This CPU runs ridiculously cool, the Athlon 200GE. I was playing some Counter-Strike on it earlier and about 35-40 degrees Celsius at full load, which is so cool. And when it's idling, it's literally at ambient temperature, so it's about 2 or 3 degrees above ambient. So it's about 22 degrees in here, so it's around about 25, 26 degrees, which is insane really, if you think about it. Right, what shall I plug in next? I'm not going to do a particularly tidy build on this. I literally am going to just throw it together so I can get it powered up. I might do a bit of cable management at a later point. Now, what do you reckon of these cables actually? I like these cables. This is the Riotoro Builder's Edition power supply. And it's got these really nice kind of licorice lace power supply cables. They look amazing. What do you reckon? Considering it's a budget cooler, budget cooler, it's a budget power supply. It actually looks the business. And I've just noticed already that I can route that through somewhere slightly better. Possibly. Like I said, I'm not doing any cable management, apart from the cable management I'm about to do. Now, can I actually even get to that part? So if you see the other side, actually, you can see what we've got in here. Oh, I'm dropping stuff. So in this side, we've got, this is basically like the storage bin, effectively. So we should be able to get, I think, oh, it's a little bit tight, but definitely doable. I think that's gone through. There she goes. Yeah, so basically that has gone through a little bit closer now to where the CPU connector actually should be, which should make this a little bit easier to cable manage. There's not really a great deal going in there, so there isn't actually a lot to cable manage. Yeah, the standard, actually behind me I've got, sorry?
Repeat the question because we can't hear anything.
Oh yeah, that's true. So who was it who asked it? Lassie T just asked, why don't I use the Ryzen cooler on this build, being that I didn't use it on the last one, because it is, I don't know if you can see it on there, probably can't, can you? But there it is. That's the one off the, I think that's the 2200G cooler. Now the reason I don't like using this is because actually there's something wrong with the cooler. and it makes a very weird noise. And I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's got a really sort of weird blade configuration. I think it's because I bought this as the very first generation of Ryzen 2200s. All the ones I've seen after this have had a completely different fan setup, like a 5-blade fan with a larger sweep, whereas this, the blades are really shallow as if it's not really blowing anything. So because of the noise and because of the RPMs, that is why I've not used that one. I do have another one somewhere, which I am tempted to try to see if there is any difference. But it's one of those things, because the CPU runs so cool, it's almost wasteful to use a better fan on it. And also, you can't overclock it, or, well, you kind of can, but you can't. MSI boards can because of a mess up on their behalf. So really trying to get it any cooler is a bit kind of pointless, because you're not going to get any more benefit out of it. It doesn't generate a lot of heat anyway, and if you are going to replace a cooler, cooler's going to be 10, 15, 20 pounds worth. So you're better off selling that to put some money back into the system rather than wasting it on a fan, in my opinion. Being that that is included in the box, you might as well use it. But that's just my opinion.
Remix Island Music said the stock AMD coolers look way better than the Intel ones.
Yes, the AMD coolers do look better than the Intel ones. The Intel ones are a weird thing. They've been around for so long and they've basically not changed in the last probably 15 years or so, which is really odd. I don't know why they haven't changed them. You'd think Intel being Intel, they'd try and make it look a bit nicer, but I guess they don't really actually care because they're making so much money it doesn't matter. Right, let's work out where these bits and bobs are going to go. There's not really a lot else to connect up, I suppose. Well, we've got the PCI Express connection for the graphics card, which isn't going in there. Although I have got that Radeon RX 480, which I have tested out in this build, and actually does run like a demon. But I'm kind of a bit loath to put it in there because this PC probably isn't going to get a great deal of use for gaming anyway. Although if someone wants to send me a super chat for £100 or $120, I'll quite happily stick it in there. But don't.
Remix Island Music said, should I get an R5-2600 or an R7-1700? He plans on, I don't know if he or she plans on overclocking both as far as I can go on the
Right, that's a bit of a long question, but I'll try and answer it. So somebody's just asked, what is better to have a Ryzen 5 1600 or an 2600 or a R7 1700? That's a tricky one. If it's purely for gaming and stuff like that, then if they're the same price, I'd probably go with the 2600 because of the higher single core clocks, and also you can probably overclock it to get it a little bit higher again. If you're going to be doing any form of content creation, then the extra cores and threads will definitely be useful on the R7. And actually the R7s you can overclock to quite a good level. So it really depends what you're using it for. I personally, in the streaming machine behind me, that's an R7 1700, and it runs absolutely fine. Although saying that, I just saw the couple of frames drop on the screen now, so I probably shouldn't say that too soon. He laughs first, laughs last, or something, is it? I don't know.
Remix says the original Core 2 Duo cooler has a copper core and a bigger aluminium heatsink than the new ones.
Oh, right, okay. That's interesting to know that there's a bigger copper core. I'll tell you what, this upside down ATX Malark has actually confused the bejesus out of me. Or it's either that or the fact that this is about my 7th coffee today. And my head's a little fluffy.
Muscle memory.
Yeah. You would think actually by now I would get muscle memory on this, but unfortunately not. So power switch is the second one in, and that is power LED, so plus and minus. I don't know why they don't just make these things universal now. Motherboards are all the same pretty much. Would make a lot more sense. Back in the day, in the 2000s, I remember I used to build PCs as my kind of day job. We had put together a PC, and this is back in the days when we had things like 10100 network cards, Sound Blaster cards, what else do we have? CD drives. What else would we have? Didn't have extra fans or RGB because that was before that was even thought of. Yeah, we had floppy disk drives. And floppy disk, we used to throw those systems together. We'd probably put one together in maybe 10-15 minutes from start to finish. And they generally work. I say generally.
Remix class, is that a standard ATX PSU mounted version?
It's a standard ATX power supply, but it's mounted. Yeah, I suppose, yeah, technically it is. Yeah, it's kind of that way up. So rather than being flat, it's the other way round. Which is actually a really cool idea because, yeah, literally a cool idea because, oh, it's upside down now, I'm going to scratch it. So the side panel, when the side panel's on, there's a ventilation there with a magnetic filter. So that's going to pull cool air in from this, like your ambient temperature, and pull it out the back there, which is good in two reasons. One, because obviously it's fresh air going straight into the PSU, and you want to keep your PSU as cool as possible. But that is going to help with the power rating, because the cooler a power supply is, I believe the better the efficiency is. So if the power supply is generating heat, it means it's not efficient. At least I think that's how they work out the 80+ ratings. So depending what temperature the components get to, that's a sign of how much energy is being wasted, i.e. turned into heat. That probably has no bearing on it whatsoever, and no doubt some electronics expert's gonna let me know and go, "Dear Mr. Churchill, I think you're talking out of your ass. You know nothing about electronics." It's true, I don't. But I like to theorise. I've walked this earth for 40-something years. 4, Kath's saying. Seems like a lot longer. Yeah. Yeah, I've been on this planet doing stuff for all this time. Yeah, I like to theorise about things. It does make sense, because heat is basically wasted electricity, isn't it? In most instances, I think. I don't know. Do you know? Does anybody know? Does anybody care?
No, you didn't know.
Yeah. Someone will probably give us the philosophical thing about it and how it all works. That'd be pretty cool. So, I should have really cable managed this a little better. I do apologise. Actually, that'll never do. Do. Yeah. Can't press the button and hold this though. Yeah, that's not too bad. We'll have to tidy that up a bit, but let's have a good look on camera number 2. So, camera number 2, what do we think? Oh, that needs to go back through there a little bit. So we'll pull that back through.
Jesus also said usually when your components are hot, it's because you're demanding more current than it was designed for.
Ah, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Repeat the question, I didn't quite hear it.
So Jesus has mentioned that components get hot when you're asking them to use more current than they're supposed to, than their stock settings, I guess, or overclock settings.
By the way.
He's an electronics expert. Yay! Was he telling me to, Mr. Churchill, you're completely wrong. I disagree with all the things you're saying.
You're old.
Okay, so that is the motherboard in. What do you reckon? It looks weird being upside down, doesn't it? I don't know.
Why don't you get upside down and look up the right way then?
Yeah. It's kind of, it's odd, but I kind of like it at the same time. Okay, so let's flip it around and stick some hard drives in. Whilst trying not to burp. Wrong button. There we go. That's going to do my neck in, I can see it happening. Okay, so this is the drive caddy. Now this whole thing comes out, so you can populate it. You can put two 3.5-inch drives in there, and two, did I say 3.5 then, or 2.5? What did I say, half? Not interested. Right, that is the caddy, so you got two 3.5s in there, and two 2.5s in there. And these are kind of removable. Just press that little clamp down and they snap out. So that's pretty awesome.
Actually, it looks nice and clean.
You can actually just leave the whole thing. You could leave that out if you wanted to. There's no reason why not. Sorry.
Ashton thinks it looks nice and clean.
Ashton thinks it looks nice and clean. Thank you, Ashton. Well, I don't know why I'm thanking you, because, well, yeah, thanks. Thanks for the comment.
It's, you've got cough.
It's
AMD bulldozer chips.
It's a crap build, but it's going to look nice. When I fire it up, you're going to be impressed, I can tell. Possibly. Right, let's see how this goes then. So in theory, actually, let's think about this. So if this going that way, so the drive, yeah, that side. So we want them in like that, and like that. And is that in? Yeah. Okay, that's in. I'm a little bit dubious with that. So, there we go. I suppose it would look better if the drive was the other way around though, wouldn't it? Oh no. So, oh my god, this is hard. My brain is really hurting. Today I bought 3 graphics cards, of which only one of them was actually mine. And then I spent hours wrestling with a system that didn't want to have one of the cards installed. And yeah, it generally sucked. And also, I would like to highlight you all now to the dangers of vaping and computing. Now, my son, George, if he's watching or listening, he probably won't be, but his PC was disgusting, like properly disgusting, because he vapes like crazy in his bedroom, and almost every component in that computer, and this is a computer, like this is a S340 case, which has got some pretty decent filtration on it, and there's not a lot of airflow in it, so how the hell the vape juice gets inside the PC, I don't know. Maybe he's blowing smoke rings into the damn thing. Again, I don't know. But it was literally wet inside the PC with vape kind of residue, which I guess a lot of people probably don't think about. But vape is water vapor. So if you vape in a room and it's enclosed and you've got fans in a PC, it's going to pull it all in, and because it's wet or has a moisture content, it will kill components. Simple as. It's a conductive thing. So if you get it all over your graphics card or your motherboard or the PCBs, eventually it's going to go pop when it gets enough moisture in there to bridge gaps between circuits. It's going to kill stuff. So my kind of word of warning is basically don't do it. If you're going to vape outside or in another room or something, don't vape next to your computer. It's a really bad idea. Kath just said, do I want my vape over? No, Kath, that is a bad idea.
Remix Island's Athlon cooler looks like the stock cooler for the AMD FX processors.
Yeah, it's got the same clamps. The cooler on the the Athlon 200GE does look very much like the Athlon FX range coolers. It's got that same kind of clamp. Which actually, that clamp system has served us well as kind of PC builders and what have you for, how long now? Since the first of probably the Athlon XPs, which was socket 7, no, was it even a 7, was it? There was 754, then there was 939, and it was the one before that. Anyone let me know, was it socket 340? Or is that, am I talking out my backside there? Someone's bound to know. Or maybe they won't. It will be kept in the dark. Show my age. Thanks for that.
I have an S340 that isn't a well-designed case. Filters are placed where there is no fans in the front and the case is an oven.
Yeah, the S340, it's a weird thing because the S340 actually looks like a really, really nice case and it's got a great layout, but it's the airflow and stuff like that, it isn't great at all. It really isn't. So let me think about this. This is a bit perplexing.
Did we unbox that case?
This one?
No, George's.
No.
Tristan Arthur's in the house.
Who?
Tristan Arthur.
Hello, Tristan.
Just how many PCs do you have?
How many PCs do I have? Technically, well,
Personally.
the thing is, I don't have that many PCs, not of my own. They're all someone else's. Right, where's that going to go to? Let's thread that through there. This is really weird. This is my first inverted ATX motherboard build ever. And it really does mess with your mind. Because you think about normal ATX and it's almost like you're in muscle memory when you're putting it all together. But this is really, really hard. I wasn't expecting it to be this difficult. It's like, I feel like I'm on Mastermind. Oh, is that gonna go? Oh crap. I disconnected his view and I put that one in the wrong way.
Ollie Man.
Damn it.
Shout him out.
Who?
Ollie Man.
Ollie Man. Oh shit.
He's shouting me out. By the way, enjoying the stream.
Ollie Man, good evening. Oh shit. I can't do two things at once. I'm having a hard enough job just building and breathing. Actually, if I probably do a turn of the screw in between each breath, that'll probably give me enough brain power to do the rest of it. But Ollie Man, there's your shout out, my friend. Thanks for joining us. Who are you and where are you from? What?
Haha, sorry. George screws. Jesus said once you build your first computer, you can't stop.
Yeah, that is very true. Once you build your first PC, you're screwed then. I built my first PC, well, I'll tell you, I rebuilt a PC I bought back in, was it 1996? So when me and Kath got married, we had some money and we were like, what should we buy? And we wanted a PC. Well, we kind of did, but we didn't really know what they're for, as most people didn't. So that was our wedding present to ourselves, and I think we spent about £600 on it. Must be like £600, and this was an old Intel. No, it wasn't even Intel. It was, no, actually it wasn't Intel. It was a DX266, which was no, actually no. We had an SX. We had an SX386, I think, originally. And then we went to a DX266 on the 486 system.
And we had a printer with a ribbon.
Yeah, and we had a printer that had a ribbon in it, you know, like it punched onto a ribbon to make colour. So if you had a piece of colour, you would have to hit the green ribbon, the red ribbon and the blue ribbon to make up black. It was insanely long. It took ages to print anything.
Print out horoscopes.
Yeah, we used to print out horoscopes back then.
Because we didn't know anything else.
We're a bit mad. So there we go, look. Although that's a mess there, doesn't matter because we're going to cover up all that. So side panel wise, there we go, there's a side panel and there is the magnetic dust filter, which is pretty darn cool. And there's actually some ridges in the mesh there so that it centralizes. It's little touches like that I like.
Glenn said build an inverted PC with the case on its roof might help with the brain strain.
Yeah. I might have to build the PC with me stood on the roof. Right, so that's that side panel done. Shall I put the screws in? Do you think it's okay to do that? Do you think I've probably dislodged pretty much all of the RGB? Actually, that's a good point.
Ollie Man said his brother built his first PC at age 14.
Oh, crap. I have disconnected my RGB. which is behind all that. I'm gonna have to do it, aren't I? Okay, now this isn't a fault of the case and technically isn't really a fault of mine, but the RGB strip that I've got was a very cheap one, and the actual RGB kind of pin, the 4-pin RGB, is really loose, so whenever you do anything or move anything it comes loose. And I forgot when I did my previous build I actually used a piece of black tape to hold it in place, which I might ask Kath if she can go and get some black tape, because I'm not sure where I've left it. So basically behind here, this Riotoro bit, which I'll show you now. Wrong button. So this Riotoro bit, behind there is a RGB controller. Actually, if I undo that screw, you can see it. So this case has actually got its own built-in RGB controller. Oh, and it did have a screw, which I've just lost somewhere down there. But hey ho. Luckily I have a magnetic screwdriver. Always keep a magnetic screwdriver, very handy. So I don't know if you can pick it out and get you a bit closer. So there we go, there is the RGB controller. So you've got a incoming 12 volt feed on this side, which is SATA. And then around the outside you've got 3-pin headers for obviously 3-pin fans, of which I've got one connected already. You can see at the bottom left. Don't know if you can see that actually. Am I close enough? Yeah, kind of, you get the idea. So basically, yeah, you've got all the fan headers there, and next to each fan header is a custom 4-pin header, which is for the Riotoro RGB setup. So, is that, I don't know if it's going to focus or not. Oh, you kind of get the idea. But and also at the top here is an RGB output, which is that one there, which hopefully you can see. And that is what I was connecting through, and unfortunately the pins on that other bit were not great. So let's get that through. Right, let's pull that through there. In fact, actually this RGB header could have done with being a few inches longer. It's not the first time I've said that. Okay, right, that is together now, so can't find any black tape, no?
No.
Use a bit of sellotape. Which is, oh, I get it. I didn't realise what the marker was for. You want me to colour it in? Wow. Oh, this is going to be really tricky. Why would I try and do this during a live stream? That would be stupid.
Ollie Mann said his brother built his first gaming PC at 14.
That's pretty good. At 14, I struggled to build my first PC, or rebuild my first PC, at what, 21? But then saying that, PCs had only kind of been out really in the mainstream for about a couple of years then. Whereas now, most kids kind of grow up with it, don't they?
Remix Island, I want an old 486 laptop with a parallel port signed Blaster card. Parallel port Sound Blaster card? I didn't even know that was a thing. That's it. How would that even work? I guess it would. That's, wow. Yeah, I definitely want one of those. Tristan Arthur, what do you reckon of YouTube Premium?
What do I think of YouTube Premium? I don't know. I wouldn't like to kind of comment too much on it, because obviously I am a YouTube person. I do use YouTube and I use the service and the platform, so I can't be too kind of down on it, because actually it's a really good thing. It brings a lot of people together and brings a lot of people a lot of enjoyment. I would say YouTube, and probably some of the other streaming sites, but more so YouTube, has probably been the reason why a lot of people don't even bother watching terrestrial TV anymore, because the amount of choice you get on YouTube, you can watch whatever you want. realistically. There is a channel, literally, actually I think there probably, I'd love to know how many channels there are on YouTube, but I would imagine there's probably almost a channel per person if you take into account like all the channels on the platform and all the people in kind of North America. I would imagine there's probably a similar number. So there's so much choice if you want to watch.
But he asked, what do you reckon of YouTube Premium?
Yeah, I'll get onto that kind of. But like, there's so much choice, but the ads are really, really annoying. I hate the ads. Now, unfortunately, that is part and parcel of YouTube, that if you want to be on YouTube and you want to use it as some form of income, whether it's be to fund extra things like builds and stuff, or to buy musical instruments or whatever it may be, you kind of have to go along with that whole thing of doing the adverts to generate your income, because there isn't really anywhere way else you can generate income. And it would be nice if everybody could pay a small amount for YouTube Premium so that you didn't have to have the ads, because that is essentially what it's all about. If you pay for YouTube Premium, you get the music streaming and all that sort of stuff, which is great, but you don't have to watch ads. So the YouTuber or the content creator gets the payment that they would have got as an average for the ads. So it's a good idea, but because we've had it free for so long, you're like, well, hang on, why should I pay for it? But then it's like, I watched a little bit of ITV, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and that is just horrendous. But YouTube is getting like it with all the ads. It is getting really bad. I was watching, who was I watching earlier?
Oh, it was some person buying.
I was watching something.
i10s.
Yeah, I was watching this guy about some i10 headphones, the TWS i10s, which are like the AirPod rip-offs. And literally every 30 seconds it was advert. It's like, really? Give me a break. And it actually made me want to go on to another video rather than keep on skipping these the adverts. So, I don't know. How much is YouTube Premium? I don't even know how much it costs. I'm completely honest there, I do not know.
Mike, do you play guitar?
No. Someone just asked, do I play guitar? No, I don't. I tried playing an acoustic guitar years ago, and I just can't. My hand-to-eye coordination just won't. Nah, it's not having it. And I'm left-handed as well, which doesn't help, because you have to kind of do everything backwards. So, yeah, it's playing a guitar. I would love to be able to play guitar. It used to always piss me off when you get like the cool kids at school who could play musical instruments. And it really, really frustrated me that I couldn't play any musical. I couldn't even play the recorder. I had a hard enough job with the triangle.
Jesus, who watches the ads anyway? My brain becomes blank automatically until I can press the skip button.
Yeah, it does. Some of the ads actually, it's funny. I actually almost got a community strike on the channel because I was watching my own adverts and clicking on them because there was stuff. Because they are targeted. So I clicked on it, and there was one for is it the Elk or Ekel drone? And they do all those stuff for the cameras, like the gimbals and stuff, and all that kind of stuff, and the dollies, and the sort of thing you can control from an app to make your camera do all that kind of gimbal lark. And I love that, and I thought, oh yeah, that's amazing. I might think about getting one of those. That'd be really handy. So I clicked on it. And then I went on and saw another advert. And the next thing you know, we get this thing from YouTube saying like, you've been banned, or you'll be banned for 3 months if you continue doing this. Or oh no, we did get, yeah, we had a, that's right, yeah, we had a payment ban for 3 months because I clicked on something which was appropriate to me, which is absolute BS. But anyway, I digress. So there we go. There is the PC. Now if you can see that, I'm still on the other bloody camera. Do apologise. Oh yeah. So there we go. That is pretty much done. It could do with being a little bit tighter, to be honest with you. I just wanted to get it in there, try it, see what it's like. So I'm not going to put the side panel on yet. I'm going to fire it up first and see that it actually does work.
Ollie Mann says, according to Google, there are over 1 billion
There's 1 billion channels. So how many billion people are there in America? Is it like 3 billion or something?
Tristan Earth says it's £12.
£12? That's a lot of money. £12 a month?
Or yeah.
That's a lot of money for a premium. See, I wouldn't, if it was £10 a month to buy Amazon Prime, Google Video, YouTube Video, and like Netflix, and maybe something else as well, like AMC or something, or AMC, yeah, AMC and The Walking Dead people. So if I could pay £10 and get all of those a month, I would still think, I don't know. But that's because I'm a tight sod. It really is.
Jesus has noticed that depending on the country, you will receive more ads.
Right, PC is on. So, let's dim the lights. Now, if you've got a Google device at the moment, I suggest you turn it off or something. Hey Google, turn off the studio lights.
Alright, turning 3 lights off. Sorry, it looks like the RGB is...
Good old Google Home. That is the ultimate in laziness, isn't it? So, let's see if this thing actually works. Have I got it turned on? Yes, I have. Okay. Look at that. That's some RGB there. Now it's already pre-programmed in pink because the recipient, the person who's getting this PC is our daughter, and she is into pink. Does that look pink on the camera? I don't know. It kind of does. Tell you what I'll do. I'll cycle through the colours if I remember which button it is. Is it that one? Yes. So that is the kind of like the flow setting. Actually, if I turn that around, you can see. You can see inside as well. So I've got the RGB illumination at the top. So basically, it does the same RGB front, top, side. You've got an I/O panel thing there as well. I don't know if you can see that. How cool is that? I reckon that looks sweet AF. And that fan's not too noisy either. Anyway, let's go for the rest of these colours. So you get the cycle, then you press the button again and it stops on the colour within the cycle. Oh yes, because I've got automatic white balance set on the camera.
But showing the colours a little behind you.
Oh yeah. Weird. Cameras. Anyway, so that is a nice yellow, or even though it looks like white on there. It does look white on this.
Delayed, isn't it? But it should still be a different colour.
Yeah, I did do that. Right, ignore the camera sucks balls. Hey Google, turn on Studio Light 1.
Okay, turning on 2
I
lights.
don't know if that's going to make it any better. Maybe not. We'll see.
Mine off.
Okay, so there's yellow. So then it goes around in the cycle. So you get red, green, blue, white, kind of like a limey green, pink. Then it goes through to the cycle again. And you can choose whichever colour you wish. So I'll wait till it goes through onto the pink again. Wait for the pink. Go on, you can do it. Shame you can't speed it up actually.
Any clue how removing my Cmos battery on my motherboard for like 2 minutes didn't clear Cmos? Had to short pins.
That's purple, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, purple will do. Right, let's put this side panel back on. So what do you think? Has anyone commented? How do you think it looks? Do you think this case is pretty decent? And with the side panel on, I kind of like it. It is definitely growing on me. That side panel really was freaking me out to begin with. But it's okay. It's okay. And the whole kind of upside down ATX thing, I don't see it being a problem at all.
Reflective one, careful.
Is it reflective?
No, tell me. I don't.
Oh, God's sake. So Kath's really paranoid that you're going to see her in the reflection, but I don't think you will unless you've got either particularly good eyesight or a ridiculously high refresh rate or resolution monitor. But I don't know. I like it. It's cool. It's very cool. And it all fits in, it all works, and it's all nice and cool. It's going to keep cool. So that is the build done. I'm pretty happy, and that is it's very quiet. There's a very, very slight hum from that cheap ass fan at the bottom, which potentially I could swap out for a Arctic Freezer 33, possibly. I don't know if that would fit in there actually. That might be a bit tight, although saying that, you've got that bulge there, so you've got a little bit of extra room, a little bit of wiggle room. So yeah, that is it. Pretty much it. So let's have a look through and see if there's any. Is there any questions I haven't answered, Kath?
Yeah, any clue how removing my Cmos battery on my motherboard for like 2 minutes didn't clear Cmos? Had to short pins.
Did you remove the power plug from the back of the power supply? Because even if you just turn the switch off on the back.
I might have to repeat the question.
Oh yeah, sorry. If you can't hear, someone's asked why did removing the Cmos battery from the computer not reset the Cmos even after an extended time? It could be because you left your power plug actually attached, your power cord attached. There is a very residual current which still comes through there sometimes, even if you have got the power switched off. If you had the cable disconnected as well, then I don't know, unless you were getting some kind of back feed of power from maybe a USB 3 device or USB 2 device, if you've got anything connected. Some powered USB hubs can kind of back feed power into the motherboard, so that's a possibility. But if you put a screwdriver on the short circuit thing, that generally will kind of counteract any of that power coming back into the system. Hopefully that kind of answers your question a little bit, maybe.
Tristan Arthur, how much is this build?
Tristan has asked, how much is this build? Okay, so actually this is a good point. And actually, hey Google, turn on the RGB bulb.
Sure, turning on
That's
the
better.
RGB.
So let's start from the top. So the case itself is the Riotoro CR1088. Now these prices being UK pounds, okay? So obviously if it's American dollars, add on a little bit more. Although saying that, at the moment, a lot of stuff in America is actually cheaper than the UK. So like the same price or less. You get what I mean. So the case itself is around about £45 at the moment on Amazon. You can sometimes pick up deals on it from places like Scan or eBuyer. Every now and then they have a bit of a splurge on and do them for like, kind of like £35–40. So the case, actually Kath, you better write this down and add it up for me.
I don't know. Adding it on.
Wow.
Can I use this?
Yeah, use that, yeah. Actually, I'll write it down. I'll make notes. That way I know if I'm doing it right. So the case, let's say 50 for argument's sake. The motherboard was another 50, so that's the Gigabyte GA-AX370-D3SH.
Not autistic.
That was £50. Again, that should have been 20 really, but I screwed up on not collecting the Steam vouchers, so that was my fault. The processor and the graphics are built into the CPU, APU thing, which is the Athlon 200GE, which currently is retailing for £55. The RAM in there is QUMOX, 8 gigs of DDR2400. And
Permanent marker.
am I? Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's permanent marker. This is a whiteboard, so this is not going to end well.
But we can let them in a
The RAM, I think, was about 60 when I bought it, because it's not particularly good RAM, but it does overclock a little bit. But this chip will only take a maximum of 2667 RAM, so it doesn't make much difference. So that is the motherboard, that blah 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 blah, that's all that. So that's the case. So only the power supply left, and the power supply I think was 35, maybe, well, I'm not sure. Let's round it up to 40, because that makes the maths easier. Or the math, as you say in America. The Riotoro fan came with it. Oh, I suppose I could add on the SSD, which is in there. The SSD is a 240 gig. So at the moment you can get a Kingston A400, which is kind of same. That would be another 30. Actually, those are a really good buy at the moment on Amazon. £30 for a 240 gig SSD is kind of mental. Anyway, so that's that for the SSD.
RGB.
The hard drive that's in there is kind of like a laptop one, so I wouldn't really want to put a price for that. So if you're thinking of this as being a gaming PC with a bit of storage, then I would say budget for a 1TB mechanical drive. So you could say that's another £30 for a 1TB 3.5-inch hard disk drive. The strip, the LED strip, which I've put in there, kind of like an optional extra, that was £10 for 2. So I'll say just £10. So that's 50, 100, 155, 215, 255, 280, 305. So just over £300, so about £320 for essentially a brand spanking new gaming PC, which it will actually play games. I don't know if you've seen the video I did on it, but we're playing Counter-Strike, Far Cry, Dota, beach buggy racing, which is really addictive. I was playing that again today. Asphalt 8, Airborne, and basically, yeah, they've designed it so that it will leverage the bits in the games that it needs to, but without having all the eye candy on. Fortnite as well, playing Fortnite on it, which is incredible really. For a £55 combination of graphics card and CPU in one package is kind of mad. So I would say if you could probably skimp out a little bit on some of the bits in there. The power supply is probably a little bit of overkill. The case itself, you could probably get maybe one about £20 cheaper and cut out all the RGB stuff. So if you're looking at building a brand spanking new gaming PC, or a PC that will play games,
Which that bit did in that pink case.
you're looking at sort of £280, £290. Throw in a Windows 10 license for, I don't know, £10 at the moment on Amazon. Weirdly, Amazon are selling Windows 10 licenses for £10. What, £9.99? How insane is that? Yeah, so that pretty much it. So less than 300 quid. And I think if you got kids or I don't know, even teenagers, if they find that underneath the Christmas tree on Christmas morning, I think they'd be pretty pleased, don't you? I think they would. In fact, I hope they are, because it's going to be a certain someone's present this year, possibly, maybe, part of. So, any other questions, Kath?
Angel's on.
Angel's on, okay.
Her phone dies, but she's watching now.
Okay.
Don't keep saying the G word.
Sorry, I won't say the G word anymore.
It freezes your video and brings up people thingy on his phone.
Oh, of course, yeah. It would do, wouldn't it?
Ollie,
Sorry.
are you going to plug it into the monitor?
Am I going to plug it into the monitor? Yeah, I can do. Well, you make sure it actually has booted.
OBS though?
Yeah, actually, that might be troublesome. Actually, no, it'll be all right. But if the OBS stream dies, then it's Ollie's fault. So everyone blame Ollie. Oh, it's just a little bit too short. That's what she said. Hey, there we go. Oh, I haven't got a keyboard and mouse plugged in. That sucks. But there you go. It's on. Can you see that? Camera 2. Which camera am I on now? Oh well, there'll be a delay. There you go. It's on, but I haven't got a keyboard and mouse plugged in. Hopefully that has worked out. Did it work out? Did I press the right button? There's such a delay. Oh, yes, it did work out. Awesome. Right back on camera 1. So there we go, it boots up. Happy days.
Hyland said he didn't turn off the power, that would make sense for the Cmos.
All right, yeah, power supply thing, the Cmos. Yeah, I did that a couple of times actually years ago when I was trying to, what was I trying to do? I was trying to clear the BIOS on a old Socket 7 board actually, because I dialed in some settings which it just didn't like and it just would not boot. And I was there for ages. I even took the battery out loads of times, left it out, and it then dawned on me that the power was still actually getting to the motherboard regardless, because the power cable was still connected and it was a power supply that didn't have an on-off switch, and I didn't kind of comprehend that that was the deal. So I learned the hard way. We all do. If you don't make mistakes, you'll never learn. A wise man once said to his daughter, Angel. I did say that.
Tristan Arthur, what's the GPU?
Tristan, what is the GPU? What in there? Is that what he's asking? Inside the Athlon 200GE? Or the ones that are behind? I don't know. Actually, I'll answer both of those questions regardless. So the GPU which is in there is the Vega 3. So in the Ryzen 2400G, you've got a Vega 11. In the 2200G, you've got a Vega 8. And in there is a Vega 3. So if you are aware of the rough or approximate performance of the 2400G and the 2200G, that is about half the power. So again, it isn't great. It's not kind of bowel-shatteringly excellent at games. It will play games at lower refresh rates, lower things, resolution, eye candy turned off, basically pixel cities like playing on a PlayStation 1 again. But it's still, you can play games, and some games actually play really well. Counter-Strike, CSGO played amazingly, even though it was only like kind of 45-50 frames per second. Counter-Strike actually is quite a demanding game. People don't get that, but although you can get some massive frame rates out of it, it is actually quite demanding, especially on the CPU more so on that. But you turn some of the eye candy on and the GPU really does get a tank in as well. I've put a GTX 1070 in my machine today and playing Counter-Strike with everything turned up full. It still doesn't get over 100 frames per second in some sections of Dust 2, so to get 45 frames per second and actually be playable is a pretty good feat for a £55 combination of CPU and GPU. Amazing. Any other questions, Kath?
No.
That's it, we're done? No more questions. Awesome. Right. I think it's probably a good time to wrap it out there. I think we've been in this about an hour and a quarter now, hour and a bit. So hopefully you've enjoyed having a bit of a ride along with us while we've been building this PC. It is mostly basically done to show off the CR1088, which I actually, again, the more I look at it, the more I see of it, the more I like it. And the fact that the RGB is so easy to change, it's just awesome. Oh, I stuck it on the wrong colour then. Let's leave it on the cycle. There we go, that's on colour cycle now. And the fact it's so easy, basically, if you're a system builder and you're building the PCs for people, I know the colour is a bit washed out, isn't it, on the thing for some reason. Hopefully that might make it a bit better. But yeah, if you're building a PC for someone and you don't want all that hassle of Aurora Sync and MSI Sync and all that stuff that can potentially go wrong, then this is perfect. Basically just set it all up, and if they want to change it, they can change it. And the best thing as well, another best thing, is if you press and hold the button, you can turn it off. So just no RGB. Happy days.
It is a lot nicer than it looks on the screen.
Is it?
In real life it is.
Kath's saying it looks a lot nicer in real life than what it does on the screen. I really don't think that the actual...
You can't see that, don't you?
Christ, that was nearly the end of it then. Oh. Those of you that stuck around for that epic fail, good on you. Hopefully there'll be plenty of screen grabs at that. Oh my days. Right, let's unplug this before I drop it completely. Oh crap, I've still got my microphone attached. Ah, Struth. Right. Hey, it's resilient, it's still going. So on that bombshell, I think I'll call it a night. Thanks to everyone for joining us.
Ashton said almost did a Linus lol.
Yeah, I nearly did a Linus, that would be good. I don't have the sandals on for it though, unfortunately. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Those of you that have stuck around and commented, nice to hear from you. Again, if you've got any comments or questions when the video, it'll be archived and then it'll be put live probably later on tonight or tomorrow. So if you've got any comments or questions, feel free to stick them in there. But in the meantime, I've been Mike, that's been Kath, that's been the CR1088, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.